All right, cool. Okay, so we're gonna get started. It is 10 o'clock and we have a lot to get through today. So I just wanna say hello, welcome to our virtual summer reading workshop. On behalf of the Statewide Summer Reading Committee, I'd like to welcome you today. So the committee is all here, you can wave. And we're gonna have a great morning of presentations, ideas, and inspiration for summer reading. I remember last year, if you joined us, we were able to get 2 workshops in before the world drastically changed. And then we scrambled to get a virtual workshop on March 13th. And I think about that all the time, what a different world that was just a year ago. And now here we are a year later, and Zoom is like second nature to us, but we miss everyone. We miss seeing everyone live, of course, but here we are. So thank you all for coming. I just want to give a little background about our committee. So the Statewide Summer Reading Committee, what we do is we plan these workshops. Usually we do go across the state to give these out, but right now we're doing it virtual, which is great. Some of you might be attending for the first time, and we welcome you whether you're joining live or whether you're watching this as a recording. I know that sometimes in the past it's hard to get out of your library, so hopefully maybe this made it a little bit easier for you this year. So the committee runs these workshops. We also run our website, njsummerreading.org. You had to log in there to get here, unless you got a link afterwards. So if you have any questions about how to get into that website, you can put them in the Q&A. And any questions that you have during today for any of our presenters, please put them in the Q&A, and the presenters or me or Sharon will try and get back to you as best as we can. Yes, so all of the attendees are on mute and your cameras are off. Okay, we're doing that because we do have over 100 people and we want to make sure that we're only seeing our panelists today, okay? So no problem. Again, so back to the committee, we do the workshops, we do the website. We also will have a program at NJLA this year. And we do lots of other things like maintain a Pinterest board and Facebook, social media. So we're working very hard to present all of this to you. And I really appreciate all of the committee's hard work. And I hope that you're inspired by these ideas. So remember that all of our libraries are in different stages of reopening. Some might be completely closed still. Some might be open to the public. Wherever you are in those stages, we don't know what summer is going to look like. So some of these things that are being presented, maybe you can't 100% replicate them at your library, and that's okay. But we did want to give you the inspiration and ideas that you can, adapt and work with to kind of start your summer planning off on a good foot. Okay, so how today is going to work. I have a little intro from me. I don't think I said my name, did I? My name is Liz Hollins. I'm the children's librarian at the Rahway Public Library, and I'm one of the co-chairs on this committee. And thank you so much for joining us. So we're gonna have Sharon Rollins talk about what she does for the State Library. We're also then going to go into our presentations. We'll have 4 presentations from committee members. We'll have a little break, kind of a brain break. You can get up, stretch, or you could ask questions in the Q&A. We'll come back. We'll have 4 more presentations by our committee members. And then at the very end, we'll regroup, have more Q&A, and we'll send you all off. I do want to remind everyone that we normally have some great raffles at the end of the workshop, and we are still going to have raffles. However, they will be sent out after after the webinar. So you have to stay for the whole thing. And we will look back and we will choose 6 people actually to get our performer raffles. So that's a great discount that you can use to hire someone, maybe to come virtually at your library. All right, so again, if you have any questions, yes, in the amount of $250. So if you have any questions, put them in the Q&A. We'll be monitoring that. And I think we're gonna start it off with Sharon, okay?
Good morning, everyone. Thanks, Liz. It's really good to know that all of you are here, even though I can't see any of your faces. I'm Sharon Rollins, the Youth Services Specialist at the State Library and the project coordinator for the summer reading program. I know all of you have had a very crazy year. Last summer was very unusual. This summer is probably going to be pretty unusual too. But I hope that despite everything you've been going through, that you're doing okay, and that you get some great ideas from the committee members. They work very hard to come up with some great ideas for you. I want to explain a little bit how the State Library works with CSLP and the Statewide Summer Reading Committee. For those of you who have already heard this before, because I talk about it every year, just bear with me. The State Library gets LSTA funds that we give to NJLA to be the fiscal administrator for the grant. And the committee members are made up of children's and teen and adult library staff from all over the state, and they're all NJLA members. The CSLP is the Collaborative Summer Library Program. That is a national organization that many states have joined, including New Jersey. And the funds that we get through LSDA, they pay for membership, because each library, actually, you don't know this probably, but you're paying a membership fee through this money to be a part of CSLP. The funding also pays for the online manuals. It pays for the incentives that you get, the banner, the children's, teens, and adult bookmarks and posters. It pays for the website maintenance. It pays for this workshop if we had it in person. It pays for the raffles. It pays for some people to actually go to the CSLP annual meeting in person, and pays for a few other things. CSLP is the national website where all the states that are members have created resources. So you have to actually join CSLP's website to access the online manual. And most of you know that the last few years you've needed a code to access it. It changes every year. So if you don't have the code, just let me know and I'll send it to you. It is actually the same code for every library this year, but it's still better that you ask me for it, because we don't want the public to access it by getting the code accidentally. CSLP also has resources that any library in any state can use. The New Jersey Summer Reading website, as you all have found because you've all logged in, is a little more local to New Jersey. We have the performers lists. We have our links to the Pinterest pages, which may have more New Jersey centered books on it, more crafts. And we also, of course, have YouTube, and CSLP also has Pinterest pages as well, so you can use both of those. The main reason why I'm talking to all of you is to remind you that it's very, very, very important that you fill out the statistics, the evaluation at the end of summer, because that's the only way I can justify to continue this program to the state librarian who approves the funding for this every year. And for the last 2 or 3 years, New Jersey has been part of a national group of libraries that have been sending out the same survey. And last year I did put in an optional question to ask how many books were read, but that's not something that every state's asked for. But I'm going to continue to do that just because I know some of you were used to doing that. And so that will be available. The link will be put up by mid-August on the summer reading website, and you'll have until sometime the end of September to fill it out. So it's just really, really important that you do so. Last year, I know that a lot of libraries weren't able to do a summer reading program. So I said, that's fine. You're still going to get your incentives even if you didn't do a program. But hopefully this summer will be a little different, and you'll be able to maybe offer more programming than you did last summer, perhaps outside, or hopefully you'll get some great ideas from this particular virtual workshop. So thank you very much for all being here, and I'm going to send it back to Liz. Enjoy the workshop.
Thank you, Sharon. I did want to mention something very important that I forgot to mention. All of the content that is presented today will be up on the website for you to see the instructions, the supplies that you need. So there's no need to take notes, and you will be able to access that when this is over. Okay, so first up in our presentations, we have Natalie. You all set, Natalie?
I am indeed all set.
All right.
All right, so welcome everyone. My name is Natalie. I am a youth service librarian at the Rosa Public Library. And today, my presentation is going to be how to incorporate our theme of Tails and Tails into papercraft programs. I'm going to show you 5 different elements that you can do either as one big program, or you can put them into 5 different programs. You can also do them as a take and make kind of thing, because a lot of them are easy to assemble into little kits that you can give out to your patrons. And you can either hopefully one day do it in person or have a virtual program. So the first thing I'm going to show you for my take and make and Tales of Tales paper crafts is how to do a zine. A zine is very simple, consists of one piece of white computer paper that you're going to then fold in half, like so. You want to make sure your creases are nice, right? So you can either use a bone folder, you can even use the end of a scissors to crease it, or simply use your fingers. So you're going to fold it in half, open it up, and you're going to fold it in half the other way. Probably easier to do it on the table, but I want you guys to be able to see it. So I'm going to do it this way, like I said, and then you can open it up. And this is where you're going to fold the piece into thirds. And since you have the line in the middle, and I'm always bad at trying to figure out what the third is, you're going to then fold one side into the middle. So. And then the other one into the other side. So. And then open it up. And then what you're going to do is you're going to put the middle up. So you have something that looks like this. And then you're going to take a pair of scissors. And you're going to snip right down the middle. So it looks like that. Then you take it and you're going to fold it this way. And then the 2 corners over here, fold like that, and fold like that. And you now have an 8-sided, 4-page mini zine. Then you can have your patrons decorate it. You can have them write a story about their favorite animal, have them come up with an owner's manual for something, and even how about hero animals? Let them do whatever story they want. I did mine. As you can see, my favorite animal is indeed a dog. So I did mine, Ode to a Dog. Now, I can't draw, but I can follow simple instructions, which I'm going to show you how to do and how to draw a dog. I went online and I looked for instructions and I came up with this. This will be for you guys you can access this on our website, but it's very simple. You can have, if they're kids, have them do it with a pencil first. That way they can erase it if it's not right and fix it. Or if you want, do a pen. So the pencil, the first thing you're going to do is you're going to draw the oval. And then you're going to draw the upside down view. And then you're going to add some ears. And then, of course, you're going to add the front paws and the second paw. And of course, the tail. Then add some details to it. Like I said, this will be online for you guys. If not, you can always go and look for more instructions. But that is how I came up with drawing a dog. There you go. Woof. So they can do dogs, they can do cats, they can even do fish. Anything with a fun little tail. So that is how to do a zine. The next thing we're going to show you, or I'm going to show you, sorry, is how to do fingerprints. Now I use this book as a reference. Ed Emberley is probably one of my favorites for fingerprints. There's a lot of examples. And what you can do if you wanted is to copy a couple of pages for the kids to have references, or you can just have the books out for them. You're going to need that. You're also going to need some cardstock paper. You want to do cardstock instead of regular paper because of the ink and the markers. You're going to also, of course, need ink. Make sure the ink is washable because I made a mistake of using non-washable ink and I had purple fingers for a couple hours. So make sure they're washable ink. Also make sure that you have a lot of baby wipes so they can wipe their fingers in between changing the colors because you don't want them to get up and go wash their hands and go up and wash their hands. So make sure you have a whole bunch of baby wipes or even wet wipes so they can wash their fingers. You're also going to need thin markers, not regular markers. You're going to need thin markers because you want smaller details. So what I did is I made a little purple caterpillar with my fingers, and I used the thin markers for the details. The manual also has some other ideas that you could use and the different colors and the different details. So that is why you want the thin markers and not just regular markers. But I also took it a little step further, and then I went online and I thought, how can we tell a story with fingerprints? I know, have them into a comic book. These will be online for you guys to print out. You can also go online and find some fun little backgrounds that they can add to. Another background. Or if you want them to add to the background and color it, do a black and white one so they can color in the background and add the characters. So those are just some different ways that you can use fingerprints to create a story. Now, the next thing I'm going to show you is how to do origami corner squares, like that. And they are going to be used to put them in as a bookmark. To do this, you're going to need a piece of paper that is a square. This is origami paper. It's already a square, so it's easy. If you're just using a regular piece of paper, which you can do, but you want to make sure it's a square, so cut the pieces into a perfect square. These bookmarks will be slightly bigger than your regular origami paper, which is fine. Either or works, but I'm going to show you how to do it with origami paper. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to fold it in half. So I'm not fold it in half, sorry. fold it into a triangle. And like, once again, make sure the creases are nice. You have a triangle. The next thing you're going to do is you're going to take one arm and fold it up. Next one you're going to do is take the other one and fold it up as well. This one, you'll need the table for this one because it is easier to get the corners up. So, like that. Then you're going to open it up and you're going to take one side of the paper and fold it down. So, again, your crease. So you have something that looks like this. Then you're going to take each one, fold it up, and fold it in. You're going to do the second the same way. So you have something like that. Don't worry if you didn't catch this. There's videos. There's also paper instructions that you can find on our website as well. Like that. You have your pocket corner bookmark. Now, so I took it a little further and then I decided, how can I make this into an animal? Well then, I added some ears. So I took a piece of purple scrap paper and I just cut little ears out. And I took white paper, a little smaller size. You can either have them glue it to the back or tape it. I taped mine on. Then I colored it in and I added a face and of course some whiskers. And if you want, you can get a little piece of scrap paper and put a little tail on there. So there you go, an origami book corner bookmark made into a bunny. Super simple, easy. Have fun. So you can do a bunny, you can do a dog, a cat, a giraffe, any kind of animal that you wanted to do. Now the next thing I'm going to show you is probably one of my favorites because I just found this and I came across this and I didn't know anything about it before. But it is indeed kawaii doodle drawings. And I came across and I found Randall and George. And like I said, I can't draw, but I can follow instructions and step-by-step ways to draw a character. Then I thought, what else can I do as I drew my characters? I know. How about if I added some watercolor paints to it? So I took out my watercolors. You can have the kids take out watercolors. You can also, there's also watercolor kits that you can buy online. Need some water and some paint. And you can paint the characters in by doing watercolors. Let the kids have fun. Let the adults have fun, even the teens. I think this program can be for anyone. Add the colors in. Then, if you want to take it one step further, have them come up with a story. Who is Bronte? Why is Bronte purple? What does Bronte like to do for fun? Have them tell a story. There's also how to draw a teddy bear. I made a couple copies, so I have it as reference. There's Bronte. Like I said, step by step. Have the kids first do them with pencils, and then they can trace them out with the thin markers. Micron 05s are my favorite. You don't have to use it. You can just use thin black markers, is fine. But let them do it with a pencil first, and once they like it, trace it out with the black. Now, my last thing is not so much paper craft, but it's probably one of my favorite things to do as a program, and that is slime. But I went into the summer reading manual and I found something called Blobfish. Blobfish sounds interesting. I just like saying the word blobfish. So you can make slime into a party by celebrating Blobfish. Now, I'm not going to show you how to make the slime recipe because I'm pretty sure we all have our favorite slime recipes and we like to do our slimes. But the one important thing you need to know and you need to have when you're making your Blobfish slime is, of course, googly eyes. You're going to add googly eyes to the end of your slime. If you want to do this as a virtual program, you can give the recipe out to kids and they can come up and find their own products. Or you can even portion out the glue, the shaving cream, the saline solution. Now remember, if you're using saline solution, make sure it has boric acid in it. That's what's going to react with all the other stuff in it. And of course, Blobfish, as you can see, is pink. So make your slime pink. Or if you don't want to do pink, do blue, do green, do purple, any color. You're going to need, of course, a bowl to put the slime in. And you're also going to need lotion. If you use lotion, remember the lotion is going to make the slime stretchier. So make sure the lotion is white because if you're going to color it, you don't want it to react with the lotion. So the most important thing in the slime is the googly eyes. So there you go, my friends. Everything you have to do one big program or little programs, or even anything can be done into a take and make virtual program. But hopefully one day we'll all be together. Thanks. Oh, and if you have any questions, add it to our Q&A line and we'll answer them.
Thank you so much, Natalie. All right, so next up we have Emily. Take it away, Emily.
Hi, everyone. I'm Emily Mazzoni. I am the Teen Services Librarian at Monroe Township Library in Middlesex. Today, I'm going to talk about 3 programs for teens, 2 of which focus on getting your teens those volunteer hours that they so desperately want and need. The first thing I'm going to do is share my screen with you so I can show you a little bit what I'm talking about. So the first program that we have been doing in Monroe is called Page by Page Pen Pals. And I think this really connects to the summer reading theme because it is all about tales of our lives. I need to give a huge shout out to my coworkers in Monroe because they are the ones who helped me make this program such a success. And one of the reasons is that it was a success is that we were able to encourage the senior citizens to become pen pals by turning it around that we need their help, not that we are sort of pitying them like they're, oh, you're home alone, you should have a pen pal. So this is the letter that we handed out to our senior citizens, asking that they help the young adults in the community earn community service hours. And what we did was just hand it out with our bookmobile and at-home services teams. And if the senior citizen checked off that yes, they would like to help, I had a number of teen volunteers who already had written a first letter, and we were able to pass them a letter from a teenager right away for them to then write back. So we basically used our regular schedule of at-home services and bookmobile delivery, which was every 3 weeks, for trading letters back and forth in order to protect privacy. So we did not use any last names, and we didn't have to use the regular postal system. Some of the rules I made for my teen volunteers was that they must handwrite the letter. I did not want them to use the computer and just print it out. I thought it would be more personal for them to handwrite. I even had a teen ask me if it was okay if they write in cursive, which I said, yes, of course. I think your pen pal would love to see that you know how to write in cursive. To make it faster and to avoid having the teens get stamps, I allowed them to take a picture of their handwritten letter and email it to me, or they could put it into the book drop. Once they got a letter from their senior citizen pen pal, they had 2 weeks to write back, and each letter would get them 2 hours of service. I found that since we started doing this over the summer, though, my teens have been writing back quicker than 2 weeks. I have not had to hunt down a teen to write back a letter, which is really nice. So I usually get the letters from the seniors from my coworkers, and I will scan the letter and email it back to the teen for, again, to make it quicker, to trade letters, but also to avoid using the mail. However, sometimes lately I have had longer letters as the pen pal relationship grows, and so I've been putting the letters in the mail for the teens. And I feel that the teens have enjoyed this more. They like getting paper mail, and I think that's because they don't normally get much in the mail. So I have been given permission that it's okay for us to now use the mail at the library to trade letters back and forth. So this program has been working out for a few months now. I have, of course, more teen volunteers than senior pen pals, but right now we have about 15 pairs, and they've exchanged about 3 to 4 letters from both partners. And we're just going to keep doing it as long as we can. And hopefully someday we will have a pen pal party where our teens and seniors can meet, and we'll have a little party for everybody. We keep a spreadsheet in Google of who's pen pal with who, and so that when the letters get emailed to me from a teen, I forward it on, and my coworkers know which pen pal to send it on to, and that's how I also keep track of their volunteer hours. The second program I want to talk about is doing story walks multiple ways. I have found that teen volunteers, they really love doing artistic projects, they really love being creative, and of course they really love feeling like they are making an impact in the library space. So I've been trying to think of ways that we can think outside the building and outside the box to give them those same feelings of making an impact. And story walks are something that we can do a couple different ways. So we can do them if you are blessed with permanent story walk containers like we are in Monroe. I'm going to give my teens a schedule of every week or 2 weeks. Over the course of the spring and summer, they will have ownership of one of the story walks. This way, they are changing frequently, and patrons will know that every week when they take a walk, there will be something in the story walk. If you are not blessed with a physical story walk, you may have a Boy Scout troop coming up soon who's interested in doing a service program for you. And they are pretty easy to build. A lot of the Boy Scouts have done picnic tables, benches, boardwalks for parks. And so this is actually not that difficult for them to build one. But you really don't need a permanent structure, especially if you give the teens the opportunity to change over the displays weekly or bi-weekly. They won't have a chance to really get cruddy in the weather. So use your laminator, and you can hole punch and use zip ties to secure to fencing. You could make some sandwich board type stands, or you could even use something relatively inexpensive, like these flag holders from Dollar Tree. These are you can buy a case of them, and they are $24 per case. So you're getting a whole bunch of them for about $1 each. And that's a way that you could line your sidewalk in a non-permanent way to give the teens a display area to make something creative. And you could even just plain old use your windows. If you don't have a space or a sidewalk where you feel comfortable that this is something you could do at the library, this might be a really good time for us to talk about partnering with the Parks and Recs department, where they already have established walking paths. And again, you could either use their display cases or add some of your own with laminated posters. And you could talk about doing tails or tails. So if you're doing one at your library, maybe you want each kid to take a page from a storybook, recreate the artwork. You could do, something as simple as the Hungry Caterpillar. Or you could do animal tales and have the teens take over each display by doing a different animal that's native to our area. So did you know, and facts about the cardinal, and facts about the squirrel, and simple things that little kids and their parents would be able to walk around and just have a little fun. This is also something that you might partner with Parks and Rec on, is if they have like a story walk that describes animals, you could have the teens make book lists of, like, oh, these are the frogs that you can find in this park, and here's a book list of frogs that you can find at the library. So I think it's important for us to just think outside the box and give the teens the same artistic and ownership feelings that they get doing displays inside the library. So the last thing I want to talk about is not for volunteer hours, but for fun, doing take and makes for felt plushies. So this website here, American Felt and Craft, WordPress.com, is really great. They have a couple different ones that I'll show you. This one is a mermaid tail with sequins. This one is more, I think, would be really nice for adults to do. Sorry, can't really. I guess I'll just go to the website. These are very sweet little birds that I think would be good for really any age, and you could make this for children too, just using glue instead of sewing. And funny enough, there actually is one on that website for the Blobfish, which is a very simple sewing one that you can do. I did not include it on this slide, but you can definitely find it searching this website. The one I am going to talk about is the Pocket Sloth. This is just the most adorable little sloth that your teens could do as a take and make embroidery kit. I'm going to stop sharing my screen so I can show you my own sloth. When you print the template from that website, this is the size that it's going to come out as. It is very small. It is too small. I printed it and I copied mine I blew it up to 150%. But once I started putting my sloth together, I realized that it's still very small. And when it came time to cut out the feet, it was very difficult. So I would recommend printing the template and photocopying it at 200%. The reason I chose this craft to share with you as a take and make is because it is all very cheap. Felt costs nothing. You probably have a lot of it laying around at the library, especially the uglier colors that you need to make a sloth. A lot of your coworkers and friends may have packs of needles lying around the house, like this one, that cost 40 cents in who knows what year. And also spools of thread. I was able to kind of crowdsource everything for this project, including a bag of batting, which you need very little and is also very inexpensive. I cut up a cardboard seltzer box and wrapped the thread to send out with each kit. And I just simply would pile everything together and put my needle in the middle and fold it up and let them know that yes, there is a needle in the middle of that kit. The instructions for the sloth, I made 2 changes to. The first one is that they want you to embroider the mouth and nose, and I simply used a Sharpie instead. I feel like the embroidering is very small and difficult. The other thing I did is I changed the eye. They recommend that you use a safety doll's eye and stitch the whole thing. Now my eyeball here is blue in hopes that you would be able to see that better. But what I did was I just used a bead. You can get a little black bead, and I used it to nail down this black piece so that the kids wouldn't have to sew around that completely, because again, it's very small. So you can just use a bead and nail it down and then attach. You'll have the eye attached right there. So those are the 2 changes that I made. Again, that website is fabulous. I have done other take and make plushies. We did Among Us keychains, and the teens really enjoyed those. Those went fast. And I think having a pocket sloth is something that you can kind of like, it's like a little friend in your pocket. And if you want to splurge another $5, you can get a pack of 50 keychains on Amazon, and they can make keychain sloths also. So those are my 3 programs. I appreciate you listening to me, and I want to thank Liz for all the hard work she did wrangling us, get us ready for today. And again, if you have any questions, you can go ahead and put them in the Q&A. Thanks a lot.
All right, thank you so much, Emily. You definitely have some questions in the Q&A. So for all of our presenters, if you have any questions, please put them in the Q&A, and then the presenter will look at that after their presentation. All right, so next up we have Leela. All right, send it over to her.
Okay, thank you. Hi, everyone. My name is Leela Arnold. I'm the children's librarian at the Branchbrook branch of the Newark Public Library. Now, I'm going to start off my program with a couple of pet ideas I have. I'm sorry, I'm kind of far away. It's just my table moves. So my laptop's over there, so I don't want it to shake. So bear with me. I'm going to try to get as close as I can when I'm showing things, but I just want to let you know. The first idea, like I said, I'm going to start off with pets, but I'm going to start off with dogs first. Now, I have a simple take and make idea for a dog toy. This is super simple. All you need is an old t-shirt. Any color will work. You could use 2 different colors if you want. And all you have to do is just when you cut off the seams, like the neck, the arms, and then the seam at the bottom, you just make sure you have 9 strips, at least 20 inches long, so basically top to bottom. Now, this, you can see, is it's just simply braided. So it's just 3 pieces braided together. If you have larger dogs, don't do like I did. Look how thin. I made the strips a little too thin. You know, hindsight is 20/20. So this would be good for like a Chihuahua. But if you want to do something, say if you have larger dogs or you just want to make it more durable, make sure your strips are thicker. Also, if you didn't want to do 9, 3 and 3, you could do 12, 15, make more strips. Then it'll make the toy more durable. And when I cut the t-shirt, I could probably get like 2 or 3 using 9 out of each t-shirt. So just keep that in mind. One t-shirt will go a long way, which is why this is a good craft. Super cheap. I'm sure you might have t-shirts laying around from old years, maybe in your closet. Maybe you don't want to get rid of some of your old summer reading t-shirts. I don't know. So it's a super simple craft. Another idea to supplement that is you can print out recipes for simple no-bake dog treats. Or you can do a baked dog treat because you have to have allergy warnings. I've been unable to find any no-bake dog treats that don't include peanut butter. So that's why you have to warn, you know, this includes peanut butter. There are ones that just include oats and pumpkin, things like that. So you could always have like 2 different, you know, bags saying allergy warning or bake, no bake, whatever you want. I don't know what my budget's going to be like this year, but if I do get a budget and I do want to do this program, I might want to maybe buy bulk cookie cutters, but that's just an idea. You could just also tell the kids you could use like a cup when they're cutting out the shapes. You know, you don't have to go crazy with this. Oh, of course, I forgot to mention, if you do have money, you could also include the ingredients. It's just super simple. Like if you have condiment containers, you could put the peanut butter in there, the flour, the sugar, or whatever. If you have the money to do that, that'd be a cute idea to supplement. Dog toy, dog treat, you know. To cats, because I'm a crazy cat lady, you know, most librarians are. Right? I found a cute idea for a cat bed. I don't know how to sew, so I Googled no cat sew bed, and I came up with this cute little fleece bed. I bought this fleece about a yard. It was pre-cut for me at Walmart, so you know, large sheet. It was about $10. I'm sure it's probably because this is a nicer fabric. It's super, super soft and it's super adorable. That's probably why it was more money. I figured since I'm using it for myself, I was willing to splurge because I have a cat and it's going to give it to her. But if you wanted to go cheaper, you could probably get like a fleece blanket. You know, probably get like 2 or 3 beds out of that. Now, what you want to do is when, like I used an old cat bed to get the shape out of this, but you want to make sure you have at least an extra 3 inches because you're going to need that for the strips. Because when you knot them, obviously it shrinks 3 inches. Now all you have to do, I used a round shape because it's so much simpler. When I was reading the instructions, she had a square and she said something like, oh, when you get to the corners, make an L shape. Okay, yeah, an L shape seems similar, but I couldn't, she didn't show a picture of what she meant to how to knot it. So I just was like, you know what? There's no corners in round shapes. So round shape is easier for me. All you gotta do is just knot it all the way around. Make sure you double knot it because I didn't the first time. And when I went to go stuff something in there, the whole knots came undone. So double knot it, leave a space, obviously. If you have batting or you want to buy batting, you could use that. You can maybe use an old pillow. You could wrap this around if you use that as a shape. I used a t-shirt. You know, I think my cat will like that. Whatever you use, whatever you have laying around, and then just knot it and you're done. Super simple. And like I said, the yard will get 2 beds out of this, but I'll also have leftover yarn. Fleece. So for cat toys, you could simply cut out heart shapes. And again, make sure you have 3 inches around each side. And you can make a little simple cat toy. Just shove in some catnip and maybe some more batting, and there you go. I don't think it'll work for a dog just because their teeth might rip through the fleece and they might rip through the seams. So, you could do a dog toy if they're small dogs, maybe put an old squeaker in there, but I wouldn't do it for like a pit bull or something. On to my favorite idea. Again, sticking with the pet themes, I was thinking a paint your pet. What you want to do when they register is have them send you their favorite picture of their pet. I just printed it out to 8x10 or 8x11 size, large enough that it'll fit the canvas. I say print out 2, one for them to use when they're painting, and the second one for them to cut out and place on the canvas to trace. You know what I mean? So it's easier because I'm not that most artistically inclined, but when I have things like that, it helps me. And then you're just going to want to paint. I didn't finish her eyes, so I know she looks a little creepy, but this was so much fun. All ages will love this. You could, I think adults and teens, if you want to do something more complicated, like a whole full body, but if you wanted to make it for younger kids, you can have them just send a picture of the animal's face. Or if they don't have pets, you can have them send in pictures of their favorite stuffed animal or their favorite toy or something, for younger kids. You could always supplement it for all ages. But this is something I believe, adults would really love, and teens. Again, sticking with the whole they don't have pets theme, you could always make the kids become their own pet. I found a cute little idea online for how to make tails out of yarn. It's just a simple braid and then a safety pin. When you want to get 2 colors, obviously you can make zebras, black and white. You could do a lion, brown and tan. You could do, I don't know, weird mermaid or leprechauns. I don't know, whatever you want. All you need to do is get at least 20 pieces of yarn, at least 8 inches long or a little longer. You're going to braid it, and then you're going to thread it through the safety pin. This is obviously too long, but I wanted it long for the demo. The 2 colors, like I said, 20 inches, and then you're just going to braid it. And then you're going to knot it at the ends. And if you want, you could always brush out the bottom here and make it poofy so it looks more tail-like. and then they can be their own tail. I mean, their own pet. Another idea, this idea I got from the CSLP, is just you could do, you know, their own little pet things with bottle caps. You could have them send in a picture, you could shrink it, and then they could Mod Podge it in there. Again, if they don't have pets, you could cut out a little circle in construction paper, have them draw something, or they could put their name in there, and they can make little dog tags to go with their tails so they could become their own pet, you know what I mean? If you're like me, you have some things laying around from past programs. If you have leftover rocks from Libraries Rock, you could always have them make their own pet rocks. I don't know if you can see the googly eyes. She's fancy. Moving away from pets, but staying in the animal theme. This is also for adults and teens. You could keep it the theme yourself, or you can have them, again, send you their favorite animal, and you could cut out clip art. I like wolves, so I did a wolf howling at the moon. I hope you can see that. It's just simple buttons, and buttons are really cheap. You can get a bulk of buttons for like $1, get multiple colors, and then boom, art. Now, moving away to younger kids, I thought it would be cute to do like an under the sea kind of theme. I don't know if you've ever heard of the website called Glued to My Crafts. Again, as I mentioned, I don't know what my budget is, but I do know I have a lot of popsicle sticks and construction paper. So I go to this website all the time, and I looked for mermaid tails, and they had this. I don't know if you can see, super simple and adorable. Make and take program, boom. Another way for you to get rid of those multiple popsicle sticks you have laying around for years and years and years, like I do. You could use the small ones, you could use the larger ones, and it's simple. They also have all the ways to make mermaids on that website. It's seriously one of my favorites. I love going to it. Another idea, if like me, you have maybe seashells laying in your craft closet, you don't know why. You can make a simple craft for kids, take and make. You just get canvas boards. Again, like, sorry, I forgot to mention before with this, you don't have to use regular canvas, but I did just because, you know, Michael's has it on sale every other week. So I went there, but you could get canvas boards on Amazon, and you could just get the tempera paint or the regular acrylic paint. Tempera obviously fades. That's why this kind of looks blah, blue, but whatever. I made fish. It's just Elmer's glue. I stuck them on there. You could put googly eyes or a marker with a little smile. As a simple little fishtail. Or if you have the small little seashells and you just want to have a simple make and take for them for littler kids, you can just print out some fish, have them color it, give them some tissue paper, and have them glue on the little seashells just all around. Boom, fishbowl. You have, again, like this is all stuff I have laying around in my closet. I also had some fishy stickers. So, I mean, they could just continue on with the seashell theme and the tissues. Another idea, this is fun, for the under the sea theme is an octopus made out of yarn. I am using a stress ball I got at one of the multiple conventions I went to, but you can get styrofoam balls or tennis balls, whatever you have, whatever's cheaper, whatever works for you. You could need a whole skein of yarn. So again, you could go to, you know, whatever store has the cheapest available. This is acrylic yarn. I don't recommend it because you can see it slips. It's kind of annoying. But the cheaper yarn, I think, will stick to each other, so it'll cover the ball better. Now, what you want to do with this is get a piece of cardboard. You could just cut up a box. I'm using an old mounted picture just to show you. And you're going to take the whole skein and just wrap it and wrap it and wrap it all the way around. You're going to get a piece of yarn. You're going to tie the top together, and then you're going to cut it off the board and then just wrap it around the ball. And then you want to secure it with rubber bands or another piece of yarn or ribbon. And then you want to section off each of the 8 legs, because if they're not sectioned off, then it's going to get annoying. You're going to start braiding into each other. And then just braid the legs. You could finish it off with ribbon, some googly eyes on here if you want, maybe a ribbon mouth, or, you know, one of those little ribbons that has the crinkles. You know what I mean? You know what I mean. Now, going back to the dog theme, if you like the octopus, you could also use that t-shirt to make an octopus dog toy. Get a tennis ball, wrap it around, wrap the yarn, and then just cut it and braid again. And then, whoo, fetch Fido. Now my last idea was just, I don't have a craft for it, but it was just a simple, twisted fairy tale theme. We've all heard of those, just have the kids come in, maybe give them ideas, do like Natalie was saying, have the little books for them, and then have them write their own twisted fairy tales. Like maybe the big bad wolf is actually the big good wolf and it's the bad little pigs, or Cinderella is, really, she deserves going to sleep because she was really loud or something. I don't know, just have the kids have fun with twisted fairy tales. So my ideas, I hope you like it. Again, if you have any questions, put it in the Q&A. Thank you.
Thank you, Leela. Those are great ideas for take and make crafts. We've got some comments coming in. Please be sure to check out, the questions that have already been answered. Also the chat, because we have people posting some great other ideas for how to source yarn and canvas. So I really appreciate everyone chiming in. I also just want to point out that I have been making these backgrounds to use on Zoom using the artwork. So we might not be able to decorate our libraries, but we can decorate our Zoom spaces. I used Canva to make this with the artwork from CSLP. All right, so next up we have Alan. Go ahead, Alan.
Good morning, everyone. Let me share my screen, and hopefully it is not doing what I need to do. Will it do it? Right there. Yay, it works. Good morning, everyone. And my name is Alan Kleiman from the, well, let's see. Now this is not doing what I need to do. Sorry about that. Let me just unshare for a second. There we go. I'll have to do that way. Sorry about that. Good morning, everyone. Let me introduce myself. I'm Alan Kleiman, and I bring you greetings from the Edison Public Library here in Middlesex County. And so I'm back this year on the Summer Reading Committee so that I can talk a little bit more about programming for adults and older adults. As a library director, to me, summer reading is perhaps the most important thing we do all year in the library. Simply because it's something that we do all June, July, and August. That's a lot of time that we devote. Also, I serve as a member of the CLSP Inclusion Committee. So when you're planning your summer reading, particularly for older adults, think about how you can incorporate equity, diversity, inclusion when you plan your programs, as well as to think about doing things outreach in senior centers, assisted facilities, and nursing homes. So the first thing I thought about, and that's why I called this presentation Tails and Tails and More, is I'm going to concentrate more on the tails and how we can take the spin, sorry about that, on that tails part of the Tails and Tails. So the first thing I thought about was genealogy. Genealogy has been hot the last 5 years. When I was at Montville, we had a regular genealogy program. We had genealogists come in once a month. Our programs were always packed. We had people coming in to use the resources, both in the library and at home. And so I thought I'd start with genealogy as a way to get into the Tails and Tails for adults and older adults. And so I thought genealogy, family stories, biographies, and growing up tales. So as I mentioned, there's been an explosion in genealogy in the last couple of years, and particularly in this time period during COVID, where people are at home. Everyone with a library card has access to Heritage Quest, which is provided through the New Jersey State Library. And so the first thing I thought was, this is perfect. One of the things we're going to be doing here at Edison this summer is training the public to use Heritage Quest. How to research your ancestors always ends up in family stories and family tales. Whether it's something that you record or you have family members write about parts of their lives and put a family history together. I'm thinking of perhaps an idea of having people write some of their family history stories, maybe doing it intergenerational program with parents and grandparents that don't necessarily live here in Edison, to bring them together. It's kind of like the things you hear on NPR and the oral histories that the Library of Congress have put together. Also, many libraries also subscribe to Ancestry.com. And as you know, each one of the online genealogy databases, Heritage Quest, Ancestry, MyHeritage, are similar but different. And so an interesting story popped up this week on NPR about MyHeritage, which has now added a feature in which you can upload family photos. And it was the reason the story was so important. In the first week, 5 million photos were uploaded to MyHeritage. So definitely great interest in genealogy. Make and take, give out blank genealogy sheets and help people start to learn how to do basic genealogy. That also brings me to history tales. I love local history, and I go back to when I was in the 4th grade and learned about New York City history. I lived in Brooklyn then and realized that a block, one block from where I lived, that street was an Indian path. And in my head, in the 4th grade, I could just imagine the Native Americans who lived in Brooklyn actually going down that path, going to actually the Atlantic Ocean. And that path was the way in which back and forth eventually became a major street. So there's a lot of local tales that you could work on. I remember when I was in Cranberry, one of Cranberry's claim to fame was that Aaron Burr stopped at the Cranberry Inn to exchange horses after he had the duel with Alexander Hamilton. I think all of us have many local tales, and these local history programs always bring in a lot of adults and older adults to your libraries. Does your library have a haunted house in the area? I know we have talk here at Edison that one of our branches are haunted. And so it's the Clara Barton branch, but there's absolutely no relation to the branch in Clara Barton. So I know that's not her, but they swear it's not the HVAC system. So maybe we're going to do some kind of programs in Clara Barton to see if we can have some Ghostbusters come in and see if there are any Clara Barton tales at our library. Family tales and biographies. This is just a great opportunity for you to promote your biography and your 920 collective biography collection. And that really goes for all ages. You know, we see particularly in the children's, these new series on biographies that the kids just grab and grab and grab, and they never seem to get enough of. Using Chase's calendar, you can do displays and book lists around famous people's birthdays. Base it on your own collection, which is why I didn't come up with a list here. Also, many of the libraries have Hoopla and Canopy. You can also do a virtual film festival and follow that up with a discussion. And, you know, to me, although we do give you ideas here for summer reading, I think it's always good for you to base it on not what I have here in Edison, but what you have in your own local library. Short story tales. Many people around the country who do outreach programs that go to senior centers and nursing home assisted facilities do short story tales programs. Humorous, funny tales, growing up tales, some things that come out of some of the nostalgia magazines. They're short, they're less than a page. And that's an opportunity for us to wear our acting hat and zazz up some of these things as we do in outreach. But you can also do them in Zoom. One of the most popular programs at the Seattle Public Library is a story time short story program. And you can recreate the same thing in your own library. And this is an opportunity to use your books from the 910 travel, the 914 humor, that often, once they're off the new book section, don't really get used very much. I've encouraged, particularly when I was at Montville, for us to develop our book discussions in the library for our book groups, whether it's children, teens, and adult, around the tales of the summer. So this year, Edison is going to be looking at biographies as a possible summer reading for the summer reading discussion groups. I happen to love to tell stories and have taken courses in how to do storytelling. It's a little similar to short story reading, but slightly different. And as all of you children's librarians know, in particular, it brings all the skills that we have. It brings our own personalities out. And there is a wonderful New Jersey Storytellers network that pre-COVID every year had a fantastic festival at Grounds for Sculpture. And I'm sure many of you have attended that storytelling festival, and there are other things around the state. And so there's a New Jersey Storytellers Network directory, not director, says Alan, who didn't spell that correctly. And they're available on that website. So you can take a look. There are, that website can find storytellers that are local to your county, or you can research storytellers from around the state. Another possible group to look at is Lifetime Arts. They provide mainly programming for older adults, but they do have people who can come and do workshops for you. And one of the workshops that they can do is creating your own stories. And there's a couple of other organizations around here, the tri-state area, that are possible to work with. Memory kits is something that we are probably going to be starting here at the Edison Public Library in the summer for presentation around the fall when we can go back in person. But these kits may contain activities, books, videos, and what they're meant to do is to create a discussion and memories. Often they're used in nursing homes and assisted care facilities, but they could be used with any group. And I remember I updated one for a program I did several years ago, which was remembering the Beatles. So those of us like myself who are in the baby boomer generation, I'm not really interested in remembering World War II. I'm more interested in remembering the 60s and 70s. So this is something that you can do and create tales around that. Everyone's got a tale to tell. We all have our stories, and truthfully, we all like to tell our stories. And so when I was thinking about what we can do and how we should do some of these tales, I was really thinking that we want to have whatever we create to be engaging and interactive. You know, we see a picture here of a group setting. It could be the same as a Zoom program, whether you do reminiscence tales or programs tales. New Jersey is such a multicultural state. We have such a rich heritage here that there are people in your own community who would love the opportunity to tell their stories. And we can make that possible this summer. What tales does your community have to tell? Edison, as many of you know, was named after Thomas Alva Edison, the inventor of the light bulb. And while West Orange has Edison's labs, we have the Edison Memorial Tower. And this is where Edison had his early factory and worked. And this is where the light bulb was invented. So for us, we've got some local tales for us to tell. And so finally, I think many of you listen to NPR and you are familiar with the Moth Radio Hour. And I love to hear those stories. And so why not create your own Zoom Moth Radio Hour? Call it the Edison Radio Hour or the Montville Radio Hour or the whatever radio hour. Here are the rules I came up with. People get 5 minutes to tell a story. It's got to be true. Pre-register participants, and I would also do auditions because you want this to be exciting to the audience. It can be topics of anything that you choose. My worst disaster in the kitchen to how I came here in the United States. Why not do them in languages other than English so that you can have people who ordinarily don't get to tell their story or don't know English very well to get and talk a little bit about their life stories. The ideas are open. This could be done every week. This could be done. This is a great teen program too. Have a couple of judges, and you know everyone loves prizes, and everyone loves their 5 minutes of fame. So many of us now record our programs, and we have a library channel. So after your program is live on Zoom, put it up on your website, send it out in your newsletter, let people see what's going on. And I think it's just a great way to get people involved. So finally, I hope I've given you some ideas and inspiration that will work for your summer reading this year with Tales and Tales and more. You can use them in the library with Zoom or use them now and in the future in outreach. So summer reading to me is a great time to get the community involved. And it's such an easy, we've heard a couple of intergenerational activities. I also think summer reading is a time when we want our community to rediscover the library and let them know what we can offer. And so that's why I always like to use the collections and the online resources that we have. It's the busiest time of the year for us. So basically, let's have fun. I hope that some of the ideas that I've given you will inspire you to create others. And let's get everyone involved. So I want to say thank you. You can always contact me later at my email address, and I'd be glad to hear what's going on in your library. So thank you very much, and have fun with summer reading.
Thank you, Alan. All right, yeah, appreciate all those great ideas for how to incorporate adults, especially older adults, into the summer reading. We're seeing lots of great ideas being shared in the chat, and I love that. Keep sharing and keep bouncing ideas off each other in the chat. Also, just remember to share with all attendees so that we can all see. There's a few great ideas. And I want to make sure that everyone sees those. So right now, we're actually going to have a break, a brain break. Get up, do what you need to do. It's going to be 10 minutes, okay? So it's 11:15, and we're going to start back again at 11:25, okay? So I hope that you're able to take just a very quick break. If you have any questions that got brought up, put them in the Q&A, or go into the chat and just maybe talk about some other ideas that you might have. Okay, so we will see everybody at 11:25, 10 minutes from now. All right. We're going to be coming back soon. This is your 1-minute warning. Some great ideas. Some great ideas in the chat. Great. All right, well, hopefully everyone is back from their brain break. Got up, stretched, back ready for more fun stuff. This is the teen, one of the teen pictures that I've got here. And I just wanted to remind everyone, you know, ask questions in the Q&A if it comes up during someone's presentation, and we will get back to you. If you have a comment, you can put that in the chat, or maybe something that, you know, inspired you. A few people are raising their hands. Is there a problem with my audio?
No.
Hopefully not. Okay.
No, your audio is fine.
Okay, thank you. Got very worried for a second, all these hands raised. If you do have a question, just put it in the Q&A, okay? All right, thank you so much. All right, so next up we have Gina, and go ahead, Gina.
Okay, thanks, Liz. Hi, everyone. Thanks for being here today. My name is Gina Vaccaro, and I am the head of youth services at the Livingston Public Library. And today I'm going to teach you how to run a watercolor painting and meditating class. I'm going to teach you how to make your own bullet journal, and also talk about a skit that we've been using to present to the schools. But I'm going to start my presentation by inviting you to join in a 5-minute meditation with me. We've all been sitting now for a while, and so hopefully this will be a way to calm down the tales that we tell ourselves in our heads, right? So let's begin by sitting symmetrically and in an upright position, and taking a moment to allow your body to settle. If you're sitting in a chair, make sure your legs are uncrossed and both feet are firmly planted on the ground. I invite you to close your eyes to begin the journey within. You can begin to notice any areas that feel physically tight. Maybe that means relaxing your shoulders, wiggling your fingers or toes, loosening your jaw, softening the muscles around your eyes, or relaxing your belly. Close your mouth so you're only breathing through your nose. Notice how the air is colder coming into your nose and warmer as you exhale. Allow your breathing to be slower and more serene without forcing anything. Become entirely still so that the only thing moving is the air coming in and out of your nostrils. Observe your current mood as if you are inspecting your emotions from the outside, as if the emotions were separate from your being. If at any time your thoughts stray, that's normal and it doesn't matter at all. Simply bring your attention back to the physical sensation of the cold air coming in and the warm air going out. Without forcing anything, try to slow down your breathing. Progressively, the stream of air is becoming thinner and thinner. You're breathing slower and slower. Once again, if you lose your intention through thoughts, sounds, or physical sensations, it's normal and it doesn't matter at all. Simply bring your attention back to the cold air coming in and the warm air going out of your nostrils. Continue breathing slowly, inhaling and exhaling through your nose. As you continue to breathe, I invite you to envision a cloud. The cloud is hanging in the air in front of you, slightly overhead. Now think about anything that is worrying you. Bring to mind any negative thoughts, anything that has you feeling stressed out. Take a moment to gather those thoughts. On your next exhale, picture all of those negative thoughts and worries leaving your mind and going right into that cloud. So now when you picture the cloud is holding all of your worries. When all of your worries are in the cloud, on your next exhale, picture the cloud being carried away by a gust of wind. The cloud drifting away, getting smaller and smaller as it travels farther and farther away until it's completely gone. Again, I invite you to inspect your mood as if from the outside, as if all of your emotions were separate from your being. When you're ready, begin to slowly come out of this meditation. Slowly wiggle your fingers and toes, open your eyes, start noticing the sounds and the colors around you. As you continue through this presentation and your day, try to keep the calmness around you that you might have felt during this meditation. And that's the end of the meditation. How are we feeling? So, my painting and meditation class is about being mindful of the painting process while we're breathing. It is not about creating art, perfect art, so much as it is relaxing the tales that we tell ourselves in our minds. So anyone can teach this class. You don't have to have a certificate in mindfulness to run that meditation. I always start the class with that meditation. We also use a limited color palette and repetitive shapes. And this class also can work virtually. I've done it online, and it also works in person if your library is doing in-person programming. And I've taught it for younger elementary kids, teenagers, all the way up through adults. So it's a huge age range. And just some examples. Well, first, the supplies. The supplies, you need watercolor paper, right? So I usually take a sheet of watercolor paper and cut it down to smaller sizes. So you can use one sheet of watercolor paper for multiple classes if you wanted to do this as a recurring program. And watercolor paint. So on our website, I've linked to this, but I just use these simple little sets, nothing fancy at all. They come with a brush, and it ends up being, I think, around $1 a set. So this class is very budget friendly for all of us mindful librarians. And some of the ideas that I've done are watercolor. These are mermaid tails, right? So with the tails, and I've just used different values of the same color, and you just use the same repetitive shape over and over and over again. And to get the different value with watercolor, you just dip your brush into the water, and it's so simple, so easy, so fun. I've done circles, right? So you're just painting, you put water on the paper in a circle. Everybody can do that. And then you paint circles, and it's okay if they touch, because then you get that really cool watercolor effect where they blend into each other. And even watching the paint blend can have a calming effect. This is another circle one that I've just used with contrasting colors, the purples and the yellows. Purple is one of my favorite, and the yellow brightens it up. Another example, I've done half circles where you're just painting the same shape in different sizes and different colors, filling up the page. I've done an abstract beachy theme where you take a pencil and you just squiggle lines across the paper and then fill in the lines with different values of blues, or I use like this orangey color for the sunset. There's no wrong way to do this, so that makes it super fun too. we've all, over the past year, I'm sure heard the studies of how mindfulness is important to our well-being. And combined with watercolor, it can really help relieve stress, and it can build problem solving and motor skills and improve concentration. And it can even improve self-confidence once they see like, wow, this really is something beautiful that they've made. So lots of fun there. The next thing I want to show you is how to make your own bullet journal. And bullet journaling is actually a mindfulness practice that's disguised as a productivity system. So I have a bullet journal that I create, and I use it for work. But I've also done classes with the kids, and we've done a make and take where we've put all the supplies into a bag, and the supplies are just bullet journal paper, which again is linked. All these supplies are linked on our website, bullet journal paper that we ordered online. This is just scrapbook paper that we had in the library. And I put twine in this kit just to connect it together. But in the one that I've made, I used elastic string like you would use to make a bracelet, like a beading bracelet. I used that. And for the cover, you can cut out cardboard or even use cardstock, decorate it any way you like. I use the scrapbook paper to color, and I actually use this one for work too. So again, super simple, super easy. You can explore hashtag Bujo, B-U-J-O, on Pinterest, on YouTube and Instagram for inspiration and ideas. And you can use any of the layouts that inspire you. If they don't work, change them up. Again, you can customize these Bujos to whatever works for you. And again, have fun. You have fun with this. And the last thing I want to talk about is something our library has been doing is we, before the pandemic, used to go to the schools every year to promote our summer reading, and we used to perform a skit. And with last year, we transformed that skit into a video that we still performed virtually to the schools. That's hopefully linked on our website as well. It's just a really fun way to promote summer reading. So if you have a minute, go take a look at that. And that is my presentation. If you have any questions at all, please put them into the Q&A section. I hope I inspired you in some way, and have fun with summer, everybody. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Gina. I did do your meditation on Zoom with kids in a graphic novel book club this week.
Oh, cool.
It was lots of fun, so I highly recommend it. And we got a lot of good comments. I think people are feeling a little more relaxed today, so that's great.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, next up we have Rachel. You ready?
Hey, everyone. Yes. Hi, everyone. My name is Rachel Talbert, and I'm the Teen Services Librarian at the Bernards Township Library in Basking Ridge. If you have any questions, feel free to ask them in the Q&A box. I know that this has been a crazy year for everything and everyone, and everything for summer reading is kind of still up in the air, which is why I'm going to present a bunch of different ideas to reach patrons where they are, whether they can come into the physical library or not. So using the Tails and Tails theme, I'm going to present ideas for decorating any of your library spaces, some virtual volunteering opportunities for your teens, as well as some different take-home craft ideas that can be adapted for all ages. I also wanted to remind you that everything that I talk about today will be on our njsummerreading.org website. And many of the ideas have already been pinned to the various Pinterest board pages that we have. As with anything and everything this year, and I'm sure you all know, that we kind of have to rethink the way we've been normally doing things, especially decorations and promotions and things like that. So you want to make sure that everything's engaging for your patrons if they're just doing curbside or if they're coming into the building. So I have a bunch of different ways to decorate any of the glass surfaces around your library. If you have a big window space, you can use it as like a bulletin board and just make sure that your decoration space outside and make sure that everyone can see it when they drive by or walk by. If you don't want to do like a bulletin board idea, you can decorate the spaces as like a scene with window markers, or you can do it with window gel clings. So these I have, the window markers you can buy anywhere at Amazon or Michael's, or even I think Target and Walmart. I got these fluorescent ones years ago and we still use them until they dry up. And they would be great for like mermaid scenes and dragon themes and things like that. So the gel clings are a really fun idea, and you can do them with things you have around your library, or things that if you want the patrons to decorate their own spaces, you can have them decorate, make the gel clings with things they have around the house. You need this white school glue from Elmer's is fine. Food coloring. I hope you all can see this. And any color could work. Dish soap, a paintbrush, or cookie cutters. And you just fill everything up. Oh, and you need, I'm sorry. And you also need to have a plastic sheet cover, like the plastic page protector, to actually put your window gel clings on. I'm going to show you my window gel clings. I hope you can see them. My dinosaur kind of cracked and broke, so I'm trying to have it. But they can peel off of your plastic sheets, and then you can put them up on your any of the window spaces that you have. The plexiglass shield that we have separating you from the patrons, any window, any door, and they're a lot of fun. I have a couple of words of advice for working with the window clings. They're very, very delicate. And depending on how thick they are, it will take longer to dry. These window clings that I just showed you took about 22 hours, and I'm sure that summer humidity would add to that. Also make sure to not have them anywhere near your air conditioning, as the cold will make them brittle, like my little dinosaur friend there. But if you want to paint them by freehand, you can, or you can use the cookie cutters, that's fine. And with anything you're going to decorate your windows with, you can make one mural picture, or you can do individual different designs depending on what you kind of want to do with the space and how many windows you want to decorate. Another great way to decorate for summer reading, especially this summer, is to use sidewalk chalk. You can have it as a program and have, like, you could have your staff do it, or you could do it as a volunteering, socially distanced program, or you could do a socially distanced kickoff program with families and have everyone kind of create their own little scenes. You could put out a gigantic tub of sidewalk chalk like this, or you can have them make their own sidewalk chalk. I've put the instructions for that up on our njsummerreading.org website. And then they can make the sidewalk chalk on their own, or it could be a take and make kit. This is a great activity for any sunny day. And if you do use the sidewalk chalk to decorate your space, you can also have a clean slate anytime it rains, which is also fun. For those libraries who are putting out the table for item pickup or crafts, that's the perfect opportunity to also decorate for summer reading. You can put out, since the items that they're picking up are kind of the focus, you don't want to put up anything that takes too much room. So you want to decorate with tablecloths or balloons or banners. That's a great time to do it. Great way to do it. And you could buy those things at Target, the dollar store, Amazon, things like that. So you don't have to spend a lot of money to be festive. But whatever you do to decorate for summer reading, post it on social media, because that's another great way. That's a lot of people have only been able to access our libraries through social media. So for example, if you do the sidewalk chalk decorating program and you want to promote it, it's a great way to save the pictures that they draw. And you could also promote it through local newspapers or the Tap Into or patch sites. One of the most successful programs that I've been having lately for my teens is the grab and go crafts. And so I'm going to show you some really great grab and go crafts. But one of the members of my teen advisory board recently pointed out that take and makes are perfect because even though we can't be together, it still gives us a chance to do something together. And I really agree with them. Like, I think it's giving them a sense of community, any of your patrons, a sense of community, even when it's tough to be together. So I'm going to show you a bunch of different crafts that would be great. So I've had a lot of fun making some of these things. I have to preface this by saying I'm not an artist, literally at all. Like, please don't judge any of my creations. But you can do pom-pom animals, bead pets, and sock animals. And they all kind of vary based on what skill levels that you have. So this is my little pom-pom dog. I don't know if you can see. He's pom-pom. I made him out of yarn and beads and felt. I've also, so sock animals are also a great thing, and I've seen a different bunch of examples. There's the no-sew sock animals, which I've created because I don't know how to sew. But there's also sew sock animals that are like, the sew monkeys and sloths and things like that. And I've included different examples on our website. But this is my little no-sew sock dog. I just used felt and beads and a sock and hot glue for this one, and it has the like pillow stuffing in it. Hope you can see my friend. And then my other little sock friend is this little bunny man here. It's rice, rubber bands, sock, and Sharpies. It's kind of adorable. Love his little ear. The other thing that you could do is as a grab and go is bead pets. So this is a little fox that sorry, it's really delicate, so I can't really see it. He's a little, follow the instructions and he gets a little fox. I'm sure everyone's knows about the little lizard men. The only thing I suggest that if you're going to do the bead pets for grab and goes, I would do something that's less complicated, because then you're stuffing all those beads, because then you're counting out all those specific beads and putting them in the bags. So that's just my one suggestion. The other thing that would be great, either as a grab and go, or it's really popular because it's a great socially distanced program, is the paint nights. So you can either give the paints and put them, and put these paints in these little like travel to go containers. This is the 1 ounce one. You can always get the 2 ounce one, and put each color in different things and include all of that. Or just make sure that if you do the containers, you'll tape it so it doesn't spill. And there's a website that I've included on our website that has a bunch of paint night activities that are perfect for this summer, including mermaids, dinosaurs, sloths, and things like that. And it gives you literally step-by-step instructions on how to follow it along. Here's my example of my paint night. This is my little panda paint night. I didn't follow exactly the examples because I only had certain colors. And like I said, please don't judge me. I'm not an artist, but here's my little panda friend. This is, and all of these are done with acrylic paints. This is what they suggested on the website. And it's great for any skill level. As you can see, I don't think my panda came out so good, but that's okay. And the other, and that's the thing about paint nights, everyone can do them despite their skill levels and all of that. If you have outside space or like a courtyard around your library, you can do this as a socially distanced program. Otherwise, you could work with your Parks and Recreation departments, because they might have pavilions or something that you could socially distance and be out of the sun. So I know that Emily also talked about working with your Parks and Rec, but this is just another program you can do with them. I've had really great success partnering with our Parks and Rec department doing, we did a paint night in the fall, and we did a winter scavenger hunt a couple weeks ago. And I'm hoping to have like more active games as well for the teens to run around. Make sure to plan some programs with some mystical and magical creatures like the mermaids. I know you've seen a bunch of different mermaid ideas, but I've included instructions for like a mermaid spa night on the website. Mermaid bath bombs, sugar scrubs, shower melts. If you have a favorite recipe that you already use, just modify the colors to be purples and teals and greens. Or you can also use the recipes that I've given on the website. Additionally, you could also use any of the recipes that I've included to make a dinosaur egg. So you take the little plastic Easter egg and put it in there, and then you can put a little dinosaur friend if you want inside, so that there's a surprise when the teens or children or even adults take their bath. There's a little surprise in there. I have mentioned a couple of dinosaur craft ideas. I did put up an entire page of different dinosaur ideas for all ages, including a salt dough fossil idea, a wearable crafts, a couple of other ideas. They're all on the website. I just couldn't make them all. They got too fragile and some of them broke. Something else I've done that has been really successful with our Take and Makes is to have a follow-up Zoom program or a hangout session. So it gives the patrons the kind of semblance of normal and and it also gives them the chance to like hang out and do their crafts at the same time. So I try to do a hangout session for at least one of our programs, maybe one every couple months, whatever. But that's enough about animal tales, real or magical. I'm going to talk about the tales portion of the summer reading, mostly focusing on the ways the patrons can tell their stories. Mostly the teens can have their voices heard with social media and book reviews. Since the lockdown, we've been having virtual volunteering opportunities only for our teen library, for our teen patrons. That includes writing a book review, a movie review, podcasts. They could review basically anything a teen would be interested in. And they get an hour just for writing the review. In addition to that, our teen advisory board members also have the opportunity to highlight like a day in the life of the teen with their teen takeovers. And basically they get to highlight anything that they want. With their parents' permission, they can take over our tab, Instagram, and can post what their day is like, what breakfast they're having, what class they're focusing on, or, in the summer, what, summer fun activities. But it's a great way for the teens to kind of have their own voice, especially when they can't get together. And our library patrons, our library staff, and our library board have really enjoyed it. If you'd like to see examples of either the reviews or the teen takeovers, you can follow our Instagram at BTLteens_. And I've included all of my guidelines for all of the virtual volunteering opportunities on the njsummerreading.org website. If you have any other questions, you can please put them in the Q&A section of the webinar, or you can email me at rtalbert@bernardslibrary.org. I hope that you will find some of these ideas that I've presented helpful and have a fun and safe summer.
Okay, hi everyone. Sorry about that. Okay, hi everyone. So thank you so much, Rachel. I think those were very cute, and I thought they were completely artistic. Great ideas. All right, so next up we have Heather. So take it away, Heather.
Right. Hello, everybody. Thank you for hanging in, watching everybody, and then finally, I'm very excited to be talking to you today. My name is Heather Christian. I am the Youth Services Librarian at Pennsauken Free Public Library. I think we can all agree that 2020 was a really weird year. And 2021 is continuing to also be kind of a weird year. So I hope everyone watching this either live or in the recording afterwards is taking time to take care of yourself and practicing self-care as you're able to do so, because I think that is super important and I think will continue to be. Of course, we have no idea, as many of my co-presenters have said today, what exactly summer is going to hold, but likely it's going to be primarily virtual summer reading again this year. We have 1 year under our belt of doing this, so hopefully it will run a little bit smoother than it did last year. And I hope some of the stuff I'm going to talk about today will spark an idea for you to use in your library this summer. So the key words here are flexibility and adaptability. Everything I'm going to be talking about here is inherently flexible and can be adapted to your library's specific needs. So the first thing I'm going to talk about is something called a book bundle. There are 2 ways to do this. And first, is a great way to highlight items in your collection that might not circulate well. In particular, I'm looking at you, nonfiction, or introduce books to patrons that they might not otherwise pick out themselves to read. So the idea here is to collect 5 to 8 books on the same topic for about the same age. The theme of Tails and Tales sort of makes this kind of easy from the standpoint of there's a lot of animals, both real and imaginary, out there to pick from. So you're going to rubber band books with a big H band together. These are sometimes called X bands because of their shape. You can get these online. I got these on Amazon. I've seen them at Staples, Office Depot, and they're not super expensive, but the idea is they're nice, big, stretchy rubber bands. You're also going to want to make a label with markers on an unlined index card or a piece of paper. Index cards are a little bit thicker cardstock and they last longer. That lists the topic and the age group that this bundle is intended for. And so since many libraries continue to limit browsing on the shelves or just outright have forbidden it still at this point, this is another easy way for patrons to get a bunch of books all at once on the same topic without having to go all over the building looking for them. So for this presentation, I put together 2 examples. I'm going to hold them up, but there are pictures of these on the website along with the instructions on how to do this. So the first one here is one that I put together all about dragons, and it says it's for grades 2 to 4, and it's got the band on the top, bottom, left, and right. And so all the books are stacked, biggest on the bottom all the way up to the smallest. And so in here, there are 2 nonfiction books about the enduring popularity of dragons. There is also one of the Wings of Fire series, the first How to Train Your Dragon book, and then something I bought for summer reading last year called Dragons in a Bag, which fit the Imagine Your Story theme. And so there are 5 books in this bundle, and this is for grades 2 to 4. So the second bundle that I put together here is all about pigs, and this is for ages 3 to 5. So there are also a bunch of books in here as well. Mostly picture books. We've got the 3 Little Super Pigs, Zeke Pippin, the 3 Little Wolves and Big Bad Pig, The True Story of the 3 Little Pigs, How Tickles Met Pickles, which is one of my favorites. And then, of course, if you're doing a book for little kids, you have to include a Peppa Pig book. So also sticking out of the corner here, I am going to show you with the label here, there is on the corner here, I'm not going to talk about the specifics of how to make one of these because Natalie also already did this, but this is a pig corner bookmark. So also in the instructions alongside the 2 examples here, there is also the link to where I found instructions on how to make a corner bookmark. So you can either make a couple of these up in all sorts of different animals and attach them with your book bundles, as I did with my example here, or you can include instructions on a little square piece of paper as like an easy bonus take-home craft. Origami paper, which Natalie showed, is good, although an 8x8 square is going to make a much bigger bookmark than the example I just showed you. So I used a note sheet from one of the little square block notepads, also available Amazon, Staples. And I think they make the perfect size for a little bookmark like the one I just showed you. So these 2 examples are for kids, but they can be done for any age, any interest, any topic. This is by no means just a summer reading thing, or even limited to books. You've got audiobooks, you've got CDs, movies, TV shows. If you own it, you can bundle it. So the second book bundle idea has to do with items that may not be in your collections, but are probably hanging out at your library. So do you have a lot of donations that are currently sitting around your building? Due to COVID, your friends group, or if your library does their own book sales, that's probably not going to be happening anytime soon. So what can you do with these items? You can give them away. So the idea here is you're going to group books by age group. My library did this last summer to great success after my director heard a library that was doing a library in Delaware that was actively trying to get books into the hands of kids during the pandemic. We called it Keep Pennsauken Reading and divided the age groups so that they were in line with our summer reading age categories, which was Read With Me, which was 0 to 6, Independent Reading 7 to 12, Teen was 13 to 17, and 18 and up was Adult. So you're going to stack books in groups of 3 to 5. You're going to wrap in butcher paper or other sturdy paper. I do not recommend dollar store gift wrap here because it tears very easily. Make a label listing the age group. And here are 2 examples from various points in the summer. The first one was for teens, and this is wrapped in brown paper. It has the label. It says teens. It was wrapped in twine and brown paper, and also a little label saying this was part of the Keep Pennsauken Reading Initiative. And this one is for a slightly smaller group. This was Read With Me 0 to 6, wrapped in string, and has a bookmark and says Read With Me on there, and also says the age group as well. So by wrapping them up, there is a nice little surprise for patrons. As 2 of my colleagues say when they do story time, you get what you get and you don't get upset. So you don't have to worry about returning these items, quarantining them when they get returned, because they're not going to be returned. Patrons are going to keep them. Another thought here is if you have been doing a lot of weeding lately, in addition to donations, withdrawn items that are in good shape are candidates for bundles as well. You don't want to give away stuff that you're withdrawing because it's in bad shape, obviously. But if it's in good shape, there's no reason why it should end up in a landfill. I would just encourage you to very clearly mark that they have been withdrawn so they don't accidentally end up back in your building and on your shelves. And so when my library did this last summer, we partnered with our township's local school district, who in turn partnered with an organization called Bookmaps, which is based in Cherry Hill. And it is a nonprofit that gives children in Philadelphia and the surrounding suburbs the opportunity to build personal libraries. And one way to do this is they provide educators, especially those that are serving Title I schools, with books for their classroom libraries, as well as for students' personal collections. The school district also gave us a large number of withdrawn books that the district librarian did a weed over the summer. These were mostly classroom sets. The ones that were in good shape, we bundled them up. And as I said a few minutes ago, instead of ending up in a landfill, these items are now being shared with new readers throughout the community. In addition to distributing these at the library, we also had the bundles available at the township's high school a few days a week in connection with the local food banks food distribution. And they were so popular that we have continued to offer them, and people are still picking them up at the library. So the last idea I'm going to talk to you about today is something called a bingo board. And we all know what a bingo board is, but in relation to summer reading, this is to challenge your patrons to read harder this summer. And so we did this as a supplement to our summer reading program for 2020 last year. And it served sort of as an inspiration to read. If you weren't sure what to read, you could sort of pick a square and try out one of the activities. And people could participate, and if they got bingo, which we defined as completing any 5 squares, not necessarily in a line or diagonally, you could submit the form for a participation prize, plus count whatever books you read for it towards your reading log in the main summer reading program. So this is the board that I used, that I made last summer for my library. Once again, I know it's sort of difficult to see, so there is an example of this on the website. And so I started out with a Canva template, and I altered it as I needed to. For example, I didn't think it was necessary for large BINGO letters at the top of each column. I also used the official cooperative summer library program images throughout, so that when people saw it, they could connect it with the fact that it was the same images that they were seeing on all of our other promotional material for summer reading. So basically, you've got your 25 squares, 24 activities with a free space in the center, and also different activities. There is inherent flexibility here. One thing that I would encourage you to remember is that some people are really big readers. Summer reading is their jam. They go all in every year and read a ton. Some people are not big readers, or they are very slow readers, and you don't want to discourage people from participating. So providing a balance of reading and non-reading activities is a good idea. So some of the examples that we had on the bingo board from last year was read a fairy tale, a folk tale, a legend, a myth, read a book about or set in New Jersey, read a book made into a movie or a TV show, more unusual, but also things like attending a virtual library summer reading program event, or following the library on social media, or even something like calling a friend and asking about their week, the good and the bad. Again, there's inherent flexibility here. Your imagination is the limit. Whatever would work for your community, include something like that. So those are all of the ideas that I have to offer. I hope that some of what I've talked about has sparked an idea for you to use in your own library's program. Thank you for watching. And as Liz has reminded everybody, if you have any questions, please put them in the Q&A portion. And I see people have been putting things in the chat as I've been talking, so I will take a look at that as well. So thank you.
Thank you, Heather. Oh no. Oh no, what did I do? Oh my goodness. I don't know how to do, oh no. I just want to let you know that this is Liz. I'm here live. I'm not a cat. And I guess we can just proceed with the rest of the presentations. But I am here live. Anne, do you want to take over? Yeah, because I'm going to figure this out.
Oh my goodness. That looks like a Harry Potter spell to me. The wrong hair, perhaps? I don't know.
Bye.
Bye, good luck. Hi, everyone. My name is Anne LeMay, and I am the head of youth services at Franklin Township Public Library in Somerset, also in Somerset County. And grab your paintbrushes, your paint, and your glue stick, and get ready for Tails and Tails animal art. So first I want to share some of the things you can do for adults. I will be talking about projects for adults right down through the early literacy group. But first, for adults, take a look at a mixed media canvas that you can do with them. I chose to do a fox because I loved its really bushy tail. And you can actually, they can choose any animal they want. Here's another example. It's the cat's tail. But of course, because the cat's tail is at the back, we did the cat butt. And if you can tell, mixed media is about using different types of art media, not just one. The butthole is actually a gear. You can buy gears in bulk on Amazon, or you can hit the local hardware store or your junk drawer, but you can add the more stuff, the better to your mixed media canvas to create mixed media art. The last sample I have, although not by any means the last animal you can do, is inspired by Selena Yoon's wonderful poster for adults with the whale's tail splashing out of and into the water. And I didn't glue this one down because I wanted you to also see that with adults, you might want to tie it into classic literature and use the adult novel Moby Dick as your inspiration. And of course, you can let them decide for themselves what they want to create. But no matter what you choose, it all starts with a canvas board, a blank canvas. The canvas boards are available for bulk purchase, as mentioned in earlier presentations. So the other thing you're going to need is the chip brushes. And these you can buy, there's a couple of dozen that you can buy in bulk for about $10, a little bit more than that. So, and these are great. And you'll see that we're not going to cover the canvas entirely. So first, oh, and your paint palette. I always forget that. My favorite paint palette is actually a food takeout container because it's plastic, and acrylic paint is plastic as well. So when you seal it up, the paint will actually stay wet for several days, and you can see that I've got some blobs of paint in there. You can also see that the paint I used last week is dried, so I can just pull that up and basically clean out my paint palette that way to keep reusing it. But notice that the white paint is on a green blob from last week. It doesn't matter. The dry paint will not affect the color of the new paint. And what I like to do is use the basic colors red, yellow, and blue, and then add black or white, and start pulling the paint from one pile to another to a new pile so that you can create new colors. And just a heads up, if you do decide to do this with children, if you mix all the colors together, you get mud, it's brown. But if you just mix two colors with white or black, it will make a new color and variations of it. And that's the fun thing about mixing your own paint. It's not a true color. It's different shades of the same color. So first, you're going to take your paint and brush across your canvas horizontally. And you notice that I'm not covering the entire thing. You want spaces to show. You want to pull from paint that's not mixed as thoroughly as other paints. You're not coating the canvas. You're just giving it one layer. Then you're going to take, once it's dry, it dries quickly. It dries in about 5 minutes, actually, by the time you finish. Then go in the opposite direction. And this time I used more of the blues. So you can see that I started with the green horizontal. And then I went vertically with the blues on this one. And then finally, when that's dry, you're going to add some diagonal lines. And those are the creamy blues. You can see those there. And as a last touch, I went into the true blue and added a few dashes of horizontal blue lines. And you're not done yet, because you can take found objects like the wine cork. If you're sipping your wine while you do this, you can take your wine cork, a juice bottle cap, the paint bottle caps, and you can dip it into the paint and stamp it around the canvas in different places. This is all random. You're just making marks on the canvas. And then finally, what I did in this one is I took a plastic fork and dipped it into green paint and made some sort of grassy seaweed along the bottom, because this will end up being a seascape of some sort, or an underwater scene. So that's how easy it is. But wait, there is no animal on it yet. The animal is not painted directly on the canvas. The animal is done on a separate sheet of paper. This is mixed media paper, which is like a heavy cardstock. You can use cardstock, that would be perfectly fine. Or you can use watercolor paper, that works well. It also works well to use watercolor paper. Watercolor paper will absorb the paint a little bit more, but that's fine. Some of my examples did use watercolor paper. I can show you that whale's tail again, because that was, it's separate, and you can see the back, here it is. So this is the watercolor paper. And you notice again, I didn't go right to the edges. Now, what if you don't draw well? This has been addressed before, because many of us are not really great at art. So one thing you can do is look at pictures from the internet and find the shapes. The fox's face is a triangle shape. The ears are triangles. The body, depending on the position, might be an oval. The tail seems to be a unique shape of its own, but that's easy to do. So all you have to do is, you can pencil the lines in, but just start painting the shapes as blobs and create the shapes of the animal that way. If people are very hesitant, you could offer them a coloring page of the animal. A clear, simple outline is what you're looking for. And then you can cut it out and just trace around it. And that will be the outline of the animal that you then will fill in with the paint in various places. And the details, of course, don't have to match what the coloring page shows. So that's an easy way to do it as well. So that is what you can do with adult patrons. You can adapt this for teens as well. They would enjoy this, I think, just as much. You can even do it with older students, maybe the tweens. In that case, I would recommend using the coloring page or offering it. Kids often have their own ideas about what art should look like, and that is actually wonderful. But it's nice for those who are less confident to give them a little bit of an option. It's still their own creation. So moving down the age spectrum to teens, I did find a sidebar in a children's art book about how to paint a fish from a blob of paint. And I thought, well, that looks like fun. So I tried it. And before you knew it, I kept doing it again and again and again. I thought, oh, I wonder if I can paint 100 fish. And you can see I just did them on scraps of watercolor and cardstock that I had hanging around my office. The colors I used in my color palette the same way I did for the adults. And they started to change as the days went on, as I added new colors and pulled paint from different spots into new pools of color. They changed, they grew. And in the end, what I ended up doing was using a pencil eraser and dipping it in white paint to add other details. And then, of course, a black Sharpie to add the details of the fins and the scales in some cases. Number 88, there he is. He has a hat. Somebody has a purse. I can't find which fish that is. But anyway, out of the 100 fish, there is one wearing a purse. And all you do is you take a thinner paintbrush this time. I used a 1/2 inch brush, but any size will do. You can use the chip brush. It's just going to make a bigger fish. And you just make a blob of paint on your paper and let it dry. It's real easy to dry if it's on just a piece of paper. And again, acrylic paint dries very quickly. Then you take a black permanent marker, a black Sharpie, and you add the details, the little fins, the tail, the eyes. It's very easy to do. It's a lot of fun. You could challenge the teens to see, you know, how many different colors can you come up with? How many fish can you paint? How many fish can you fit on one little sheet of paper? You can use a canvas as well in doing this. In this case, I use the board canvas. That's a canvas cloth stapled to the board. All of these things are available in bulk. The adult project actually with the canvas board would cost about $5 a person if you did it, whether it's in person or a take and make. For the teen, again, it's mixed media. You want to use stuff. So I added a button for an eye on one fish. I did some stamping. I used stencils. You can cut stencils out of paper. That's perfectly fine. Or you can use commercial stencils. I used ink on this one with foam stamps. If you don't have foam stamps, you can cut a potato and use a potato stamp into the ink or into paint. So this is how you can make it into a fish canvas. So you can actually do the same project twice and have 2 different results. For children, I wanted to work with collage. So this is a torn newspaper dog. I took newspaper and just generally looked at, I wanted a Dalmatian, so I looked at a Dalmatian picture, generally tore the shape of the head of the dog and generally tore the shape of the dog's body. You can use different dogs. They'll have different shaped faces and bodies. And again, it depends on whether they're sitting or standing, and that's totally up to the creator. I took black paper and tore it to make the ears and the nose and actually the eyes too. The eyes are white paper torn, glued down, and then black paper torn and glued on top of the white to make the eyeballs. And then of course the little black tail. If you don't have newspaper handy, you can try the recycling center. They may have some. Not everybody gets a home newspaper anymore. Or you can look for other text that's out of date, an old atlas or an out of date telephone directory, and use that. And it just gives a different effect. So that's the torn newspaper dog for children. Moving on in the collage world, you can do the tortoise and the hare or any other animal as a collage. And for younger children, because collage is made up of bits of paper that are in tiny pieces glued together to make a larger, bigger picture, for younger children, it's good to give them the coloring page. The coloring pages that I used here are available on our summer reading website. And then they can tear the paper and place it within the lines and make their design that way. Now I used more or less natural colors for the rabbit. The turtle, not so much, but it's okay if kids use neon green and abstract orange and cerulean blue. It doesn't matter what they make it, because art is your own inspiration, your own vision of what the world could look like, not necessarily what the world does look like. So this is the tortoise and the hare collage. Now, moving right down to early literacy, we have elephants. You all must know the song, One Elephant Went Out to Play. One elephant went out to play out on a spider's web one day. He had such enormous fun that he called for another elephant to come. Hey, elephant. 2 elephants went out to play. Wait a minute, this is a crazy elephant. And that's your art class. Instead of making traditional, rather dull gray elephants, make them out of jazzy scrapbook paper. And the ears are shapes. In this case, the shape is the triangle. The hair was done, I gave him a crown haircut just by using an odd shape and fringing it with scissors, which is a great early literacy skill. A lot of kids are not very good at using scissors. And then the trunk in this case is a piece of rickrack, but the eyes are my favorite. The eyes were cut from a Vogue magazine. They're sunglasses. And I just love the way he looks. Another one has stickers for eyes and just a little rectangular strip of paper for the trunk that's curled up over a pencil or a finger, and his ears are hearts. And in this case, the stick is not a craft stick or a straw, it's just a strip of cardboard, because everybody has cardboard from a cracker box or cereal box. Everybody has that around. So that's easy to do. It makes a great handle. And here's yet another one. And this one uses postage stamps for eyes. He also has the ears in the heart shape and the rectangular trunk. But this is just a lot of fun. And you can just put out a bunch of stuff and let the kids create whatever they like. And for the little ones, of course, nursery rhymes are popular. And you can make two little blackbirds. Two little blackbirds sitting on a hill, one named Jack, the other named Jill. Fly away, Jack, fly away, Jill. Come back, Jack, come back, Jill. But why should they be blackbirds? They could be redbirds, and you could have two little redbirds or two little purple birds. And you can see that these are actually made with circles pasted together. So the little ones are not only exploring language arts and counting and colors, they're also exploring shapes. So that is two little blackbirds. And for me, it wouldn't be summer without a puppet show. And so I wrote a script for one person so that we can stay socially distanced to do the little red hen. And here is my little red hen puppet. She was designed actually from a cricket shape. And I painted her on watercolor. I didn't cut the watercolor. I just, eyeballed it and redrew it. She's painted on watercolor. She has some orangey looking stamps in paint that were made from that same wine cork, actually. And then here's the dog. And I didn't want realistic colors because I wanted them to show up well on the stage and be colorful. So you can see he has some wild things going on with his orange paint. And then here's the cat, who is blue because it looked really, really good on stage with a nice little heart. And I usually like to use a rat because it rhymes with cat, but the rat was a dull color. So I used a pig, and we have a pink pig. So we have the dog, the cat, and the pig, and of course the little red hen. And you need some props because the hen plants a grain of wheat. So here's the wheat all grown up. And this was found on the internet, free clip art. And I cut it out and mounted it on a little craft stick. Here's the loaf of bread that she bakes. And here is the flour. And there is a complete script for the Little Red Hen Puppet Show, including some jokes for the puppets to tell about chickens. That is on our New Jersey Summer Reading.org website. So I hope that you enjoyed our presentations. If you have any questions, please put them in the Q&A and we'll be happy to answer them. And have a great summer, everyone.
Thank you, Anne. All right, I'm back. I was able to work out my technical difficulties. And I just like to give a really big thank you to all of the committee members. Your presentations were wonderful. I got so many great ideas. I hope everyone else got so many great ideas. And yes, it's hard to, you can't hear the applause, but we know it's there. So right now we're gonna bring our panelists back. And if anyone has any questions that we can answer live, please put them in the Q&A. And I'll be monitoring that. And while you might be formulating your questions, I just wanted to give a few kind of wrap up items. The first is that, as the presenters mentioned, this will all be available on our website. It is mostly all up right now, but I will ask that, it's still in the formatting stages, so all the content is up, but I would maybe wait till Monday to really look for it. And then if you have any colleagues who missed out on coming live, we will send out a link also, and it will be on our website to watch this again. If you have any questions, you can always contact NJLA Summer Reading at Gmail or Sharon Rollins, of course. We also will have a raffle. Now we're going to go back and look at who attended. We're going to make sure that, you know, the raffle will be for people who attended all the way to the end. And these are $250 that you'll be able to use towards hiring a performer at your library. So we'll let you know, we'll send you an email with all the instructions about the raffle. Okay, so let's see. What else? Did I forget anything? Does anyone want to chime in on that?
I think we're all ready for bagels. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. I think we're all ready
I
for
have
a
a question.
little snack.
I have a question only because it comes in the chat from Florham Park, and I'm hoping
Okay.
someone can help me answer it. They want to know if there's a way to download all the image files from the CSLP's website as a zip file, or does the artwork have to be downloaded individually? And I honestly can't remember.
You know, I can't remember either. I think
I did it recently, and I think it's a zip file, but you can download it. Like, I think it automatically defaults, and then you can change it to individual files. But
yeah.
but I've done it on, but I don't know.
We'll have,
Okay, well, Florham Park we'll all experiment and we'll let
Yeah.
you know. Thanks for asking.
Oh, I almost forgot. A very important. I'm in the chat. I'm going to put our link to our evaluation, but I'm also going to send it out in an email. The evaluations, we do read each and every one, which is actually why we are having this earlier in March, because some people had responded that they start their summer reading planning early. So we decided to do an early workshop. That way people can come and then have the whole month to start their planning. But please, please respond to this. Let us know feedback. Of course, this is a different year, but we will read everything, and we hope that next year we'll be able to be in person. And so any other burning questions, or let me get that link over in the chat right away so that you can see it. NJSRC 2021. I think that works. I hope it works. I sent it. I didn't send it to everyone. Sorry. Oh, how can we get the Zoom wallpaper? That I made that in Canva. If you want, I can put it up on our website and you'll be able to download it. I really just used the image and then took a main background color from the image and just made it in Canva, but I'll put it up on the website if that is of interest. And I think this is going to be a great summer. I mean, who knew that we would be talking about cat buttholes in a summer reading presentation? I mean, I love it, certainly. But I really hope that everyone else has a wonderful summer. And I hope that this inspired you and you'll have ideas to use for the next few months. Did I miss anything, Sharon?
I don't think so. I think you've got it all. Thank you. Thank you
Okay.
all for your wonderful programming ideas. Man, I wish I was working directly with kids still. There's so much great stuff you all have.
There is. I also did want to mention that we're always looking for people to join our committee for next year. So if you also have great ideas, the committee this year was all virtual. We didn't have to commute anywhere, and that was great. But if you have great ideas and want to join the committee, there is a little portion of the evaluation where you can let us know that you're interested, and it's no commitment. You know, if you decide later that your priorities have changed, no worries about that. Okay. All right. Well, again, I'd just like to thank the committee so much for all the great ideas. And if anyone has any questions, please reach out to us, visit our website, and yeah, I hope to see you all soon. Okay. Bye. All right. Thank you.